Well, everyone, welcome to the Underestimated Podcast. It's your host, Jeremy Orr, back with another episode. And today we finally looks like what we have as our first interview on the podcast. I didn't I didn't get a chance to get your accolades down, so I'm just gonna simply introduce you and then you can kind of tell them about yourself as we go on. But everyone, this is a freshman guard who plays at USC Salk, a guy that I've had the pleasure of calling games for throughout the course of the year, Mr. Fred Hayne.
Sure. I appreciate you having me on.
Oh yeah, bro. I appreciate you being on, bro. It's the struggle it is to try to find people now is it's bad, man, because you got everybody in season. And it's just
Yep.
hard to try to find people to just fit, even though it's just not even 2 hours. That's 2 hours you still got to get out of somebody. So, especially with a
Sure.
busy
You good.
schedule, it's a lot. So, I definitely appreciate it a lot more than you appreciate me, bro. Um, but if you want to, introduce yourself and tell the people about yourself, you have at it, my guy.
Yeah, I'm just a guard freshman. I'm from Australia. I'm 20 years old.
Hell
Over
yeah.
here, USC Salk. Hoping to kind of find like a 4 year home with
Okay.
basketball, and I'm not sure. Just basically playing, going through the motions, seeing where basketball takes me. I basically just want like an education from it. I'm not too picky on where or what. I just want to kind of get my studies done overseas in the US if I can.
Okay. Okay. So, my first question I have for you is. Pretty much like you just said, he's from Australia. So I want to know what was your basketball journey like growing up in Melbourne, Australia?
Wow, basketball journey. Well, I started playing like really, really young, like probably 3 or 4 years old.
Okay.
I got an older brother, 5 years older than me, so I was
Okay.
basically just watching him play.
Mhm.
And I joined a league, whatever league my parents put me in. I think I was the youngest in that league.
Okay.
I remember I used to dribble in between the older kids' legs because you had to be, I think, 8 years to join the league, and I was way
Okay.
younger than everyone. Stuff like that.
Kind of throw you
And
into the
yeah,
wolves, huh?
yeah, pretty much. And
Okay.
I don't know, I just fell in love with it. I loved the game. I've had some great coaches and role models along the way that kind of have guided me here, got me
Okay.
through basketball, and then I kind of from maybe 12 or 13 set the goal of like, you know, maybe I'm not. I was never like the biggest kid or the fastest kid or strongest or whatever it was. So I was
Right.
like, maybe I'm not ever going to make money from basketball, but like my goal from a young age was like, let's see where basketball is going to take me. Let's see if it can get me to college and get me a scholarship and stuff like that. And that's kind of why I'm here. That was kind of my journey. I played for some big time coaches, guys who played in the NBA, Hall of Famers back in Australia, all that kind of
Okay.
stuff. And yeah, I've had the lucky enough opportunity to meet some really good people along the way, all because of basketball. And that's kind of the journey. It's been like
Right.
everything for me,
Yeah. Yeah, I do know Australia runs kind of deep in the NBA, so you definitely got a couple of choices to look up to as far as Australia. So
for sure, for sure.
yeah. And I actually seen a dude that a lot of people may not know in the wide spectrum, but I know of him because I'm such a fan of the game. Like I can tell you who the 12th man on the roster is for the Washington Wizards. Like I just know that much. And I'm talking
Yep,
about Jock Landale.
yep,
Yeah, I know exactly who that is. And
yeah. He's my boy. He's awesome. Jock's
yeah.
really cool. I grew up with Jock. He was always a lot older, lived around the corner from me.
Okay.
Um, and someone I looked up to. I remember messaging him when I first kind of like signed to Seoul. And I messaged him like saying like, you probably wouldn't know it, but like you're the first person I ever saw go to college.
Yeah.
And like you're the first kind of reason I ever like thought maybe the US,
Yeah.
the basketball route there is an option. And his family were great for me. His parents really helped push me getting to the US and used their contacts and whatnot. And Jock's been awesome for me. I mean, I stayed with him a couple of years ago in Phoenix while he was in Phoenix in the playoffs against the Nuggets. So he took me to some of those games. And I was seeing him there, and then now he's in Houston, and I'm hoping to catch up with him at some point there. But yeah, he's just been married. Yeah, he's an awesome dude. He's huge for basketball in Australia.
Okay. So this isn't a question that I have written down, but I've been curious to know. So I do know like this is my second year covering the team. You know, and
Hmm.
covering the first year, obviously you weren't here. But I do know Coach has a history of recruiting not just in the state, in the country, but globally. You know, 50% of the team has since I got there been, you know, foreign or international. So I kind of just was very curious to see like what the recruitment process was as far as him trying to get you to come to Salk.
Um, it's interesting. Like he loves international players. He thinks they
Right.
bring
Yeah.
something different to the game, and like you find some coaches love Americans, some coaches don't.
Right.
Vice versa. He seems to enjoy the international game, which is like a really different brand of basketball. Like you go and watch FIBA or the Olympics. It's super different to the
Yeah.
NBA. And yeah, Coach Lynch seems to really like that and value it. And I was in the US early 2024, playing in a few games and training, like kind of like exposure stuff to try and get to college. And he came to one of those trainings. And I mean, I didn't actually really play well. I did
Okay.
what I normally do. I talked a lot and I was kind of just a good team guy. I played okay. And I scrimmaged against some of the other guys on the team. I scrimmaged against Reese um, on the team. So
Okay.
that was kind of my first introduction to him. And then basically after it, I spoke to Coach Lynch. We didn't really chat too much. He just said, how you going, that kind of stuff. And then he reached out to me like 2 months later,
Okay.
and it kind of just went from there. He got on the phone, met my family, all that kind of stuff, and then it flew from there, and that's where we built the connection. But yeah, he tries to stay as tapped in with the international game as he can, it seems, and he enjoys internationals. I mean, this year we've got Costa Rica, Argentina,
Man,
UK,
we
Australia.
are worldwide, brother. We are
Yeah.
worldwide.
So that's it. That it was basically a pretty straightforward process. Actually, he just contacted, and from there, he was just super keen, and so was I. I was excited, and he seemed to have just as much energy, if not more, to get me on board. So that's kind of the thing that sealed the deal for me.
Well, my next question, you know, you kind of just grazed over that. What led you to play junior college basketball at Salk? Like why Salk? Why come from Melbourne, Australia to come play in Waterboro in the Palace? Like what's so enticing about that for you?
I'm not so sure, really. Like I understand like how being in the US, people are like, oh, why come to Walterboro or why come to USC Salk or whatnot. Like,
Mhm.
I hadn't heard of Walterboro any less than I heard of USC Salk, any less than I'd heard
Okay.
of probably 80% of the colleges in the US. Like,
Yeah. Right.
being in Australia, you see the big ones, you see Duke and Kansas and Kentucky and all those schools.
Yep.
You don't
Yep.
you don't really take too much notice of all the others. And like I didn't know what JUCO was necessarily. Like you
Okay.
heard of JUCO, some people are like JUCO's an awesome route. Some people are like don't go to JUCO.
Yeah.
And so you start having to like form your own opinion in that sense. Like I had no idea. And really like I think the thing that Lynch does well is like, especially with internationals, I had no idea where I was diving into. Like I can do as much research on the town or the school as I want, but
Yeah.
like until you're there, you don't know. And
Absolutely right.
so
Right.
it was kind of just him that sealed the deal. Like he was super excited and he was like really he was really key in pushing it. He was keen, he had a positive interest and that's kind of for me what it was. Like I wasn't sure whether I would ever go to college earlier in 2024 before like I got it
Mhm.
from Salk. I wasn't sure of any of it. And it was really just him that sealed the deal. Nothing about Walterboro or nothing about USC Salk actually sealed it necessarily.
Okay.
I didn't know anything about it. I didn't know anything about Duke. I didn't know anything about regions or the national tournament. I only knew Coach Lynch. And I mean, he was prepared to give me a shot. And I guess I was crazy enough to take it. And here we are. And I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, man. I do know that being at Salk now, obviously, I'm not on the same campus as you. I'm on the other campus, like 40 minutes away. But I do know as far as athletics is concerned, this is the biggest opportunistic school. Like you go here, you are taking the biggest bet on yourself because it's not. that many great things around that's just pulling you into like this ain't Duke, this ain't Kentucky, this ain't Kansas. Like this is Salk in the Palace, man. This is a very unique opportunity for you. So
for sure.
I do know what comes with it. My next question, and it's always a good answer with these questions because you kind of get to see how it differentiates from player to player, athlete to athlete. So we're in March. Today is, I mean, no, we're in February. Today is February 17th. Got about roughly 6, 7 games left into the season before we hit the region tournament, and then hopefully we get out of that, and then we can head to the big dance. So what is your typical game day routine look like from the time you wake up to the time we tip things off and things go into my hands for the next 10 minutes or so?
For sure. I guess it differs. Like back home, the game day routine was like wake up and chill out for the day. Like whether it's a midday game or night game, like I'd chill out. Like I wouldn't do
Okay.
much. I'd eat the food that I want to eat and I'd make sure I eat the night before. But outside of that, like I always found that if I just thought about the game too much, I wouldn't play well. So I try and relax as much as possible.
I got
And
it.
then back home, I'd get to the game maybe an hour before, and I wouldn't get on the court until 15 minutes before. That's just how it was. Like, whereas here, like, it's a bit more like thinking about the game all day. Like, so that kind of was a little bit of culture shock, a little bit of a difference. It's like you wake up and whether you have class or not is what it is. But like, you get
Hmm.
through that first part of the day. We have to go shoot. We have to go make 100 free throws
Okay.
before we go get food for the game. So if we've got a 7 p.m. game, we'll eat 3 hours before at 4 p.m. and we've got to get our free throws up before then, right? And so
Okay.
you get up, you eat, you stay hydrated, you go and get your free throws in, and then kind of after that, you kind of really just building up until the time that you leave to go get food, and then from food at 4 you'll eat, and then you're really just getting dressed, showering to go to the gym. You got to be at the gym at about 5:30 for a 7 p.m. game, and on the court 45 minutes before, and then starting your stretch 40 minutes before. And
Okay.
so that was like a lot for me. Like, man, I'm on the court for 45 minutes before I even
Yeah.
play. Like, I'm going to be tired as. And
Yeah.
so, there's a little bit of getting used to that. But other than that, I know some other guys do it differently. Like CJ, for example, he loves to work out before the game fully. Like, he's drenched in the sweat. Other
Hmm.
guys will just sit in the locker room and sleep until they have to be on the court. It's
Okay.
just different for everyone. I really just try and stay outside of the game on game days. Like, outside of the things I need to do, I'll try and stay zoned out of the game
Okay.
until like the time to get in, and then I'll start to get into the zone. Otherwise, I find I just will stress about it, think about it too much. I've always just kind of been like that. I've never wanted to be like a massive warrior, so I just kind of
Kind of just playing freely.
try for sure. That's what I kind of try and do, and I feel like when I'm stressing or I've got pressure on me and stuff like that, maybe not pressure, but when I've got like I feel like um
Hmm.
I do the wrong thing or something like that, or I'm stressing about the game, then I definitely play worse. When I'm playing freely and feel like I can, just go out there and be myself. That's when I play my best. So I just try and get in that zone if I can.
Yeah, I know it's a pretty unique thing. I've heard things of guys having crazy superstitions, like I gotta eat this same meal every game day, or I gotta have my nap at this time, or lucky pair of socks, lucky pair of underwear. I mean, it's all kind of crazy things that people do on game
For
day
sure.
that they have to do routinely.
Yeah,
So that's always a fun question to ask athletes because there's always something different that you just find unique within their routine that, is different from the next guy. Um,
100%. Yeah, no, that's not me. No superstitions on my end.
Not superstitious at all. No.
No, I'll try and eat pasta before the game, but that's only really for carbs, and I'm not worried whether I do or don't. Like as in, I'll try and eat it the night before the game. That's probably the only thing. Otherwise, I don't know. I lace my shoes up how I lace them up. I put my socks on. I don't know, left or right, right or left. I've never been worried. I try and just not think as much as possible. Do everything a little bit wacky
I like it. I like it. I'm not mad at it, bro. I like it. I like it.
for sure.
Okay, so now I kind of want to get into the playing style. So,
Hmm.
how would you describe your playing style and which the US game or is it the NBL on that's what it called?
NBL.
Yep, the
Yep, that's what we've got in
NBL.
Australia.
Uh, how would you describe your playing style with different being from there and here? And also, it's like a two-part question. So, any guys that you kind of model your game after, like who was Fred watching going out and going in the yard and practicing their moves and try to put them into his game?
For sure. Um, I my game, I'm not really sure. Like it's different. I used to be a lot smaller, and so I always grew up just playing point guard. And then
Okay.
here we've got guys smaller than me and better at handling the ball than me and faster than me. So they play point guard. So I play off the ball a bit, and I'm trying to still, I guess, find my role, find my touch there. Um, like all my life, I've grown up like they put the ball in my hands and we run plays. And like back home, it's like you get down the court in the half court unless you're on a fast break. But if you're in the
Okay.
half court, like you're setting up a play, you're running a play,
Yeah.
you're looking to pass the ball. There's no like just taking someone off the dribble one on one. And that's super different. Like here, it's like get the rebound and go see who you can take off the dribble instantly. And if you can't take them off the dribble, swing to the next person and make them shoot the ball straight away. And it's like, wow. So there's a little bit of getting used to that. I always have been like the one to like maybe it shoots me in the foot a little bit, but I've always been the one to like hunt great shots. Like, yeah, maybe me getting into the lane or me getting like a semi-open shot's a good shot and people want
Yeah.
me to take it.
Yeah.
But like, if I see two people closing out, I want to try and get it to the next person who's still open. I don't know. It's like
Yeah.
I'm trying to change my game to be a little bit more US like while I'm here, but it's
Hmm.
so ingrained to me that
Right.
when you're not thinking about it in the game,
Yep.
that I've just always got to make the extra pass, or like if someone's open, or I've always got to throw that dump off to the big man, and that gets me in trouble sometimes because people aren't expecting it here. People are, just expecting me to shoot the ball or
Yeah.
expecting the person with it to try and take it themselves. But it's just about adapting. And yeah, like the game back home, I play at a club that is very heavy on like running offensive sets. Like we have this thing
Mhm.
called the shuffle and we just run it to death. Like it's got
Okay.
50, 60, 70 plays in it probably. It's got
Okay.
just so many. And like you just run it to death. I could run every single play in that off the back of my hand. Like I know it inside out. Like it's
Really?
just ingrained. Yeah, for sure. And so like I know every position for it for every play and that's just how it is. And it's very like you don't really need to take a dribble in that offense.
Okay.
Like you maybe need to take one or two at most, and the
Hmm.
rest is cutting off the ball, moving screens, away screens. Like for every action, there's a reaction, that kind of thing, and it's all about finding the open pass. So that's super different to here. Like we'll run a play one in every 20 possessions because we're playing so fast, and so it's about adapting to that. And then I've got to adapt to it off the ball too. So just finding my feet. I'm not sure. But in terms of modeled my game after, I don't know. I never really. I always loved just watching passing first point guards. I used to. My
Yeah, I
dad
love it. I love the
used to
traditional
love
point
John
guards, bro.
Stockton. So I mean, he used to watch John Stockton with me, and I just watched a lot of him. But I never really modeled my game off anyone. I just always found like I found more joy in like throwing a
Making it
nice
your own
pass
type
and
thing.
watching your teammates scoring. Yeah, I always found like I don't know. You get downhill and instead of getting that layup, I felt like it was nice to like fake the layup and throw off to the big and watch the big get a dunk. Like
Yeah.
that was always more exciting to me. It felt better. So that's kind of like I would consider myself a pass first point guard, but here I'm kind of like a rebounding catch and shoot player. So I don't know. It's just different. Like you've just got to kind of adapt to what the team needs, and we're undersized, so they want me to go
Yeah.
rebound, and that's just how it is. I do my best to try and stay on the court, and I let the rest go with it. It is what it is. I always kind of live by that. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, I mean, I think I definitely see you as a two guard. I haven't seen you play back at Australia
yeah,
much, but like every time I see you out there, I'm like, yeah, put Fred on the wing and let it go. Like let Fred just get at it, man.
for
Um,
sure.
but I do appreciate you saying that because I feel like our generation is really key on the score first point guards. You rarely find, like you said, a pass first point guard. Not it's a traditional point guard. I think
Hmm.
that's something that I appreciate as well, growing up and watching basketball. Like you got dudes like Curry and Kyrie and like those are like, don't get me wrong, they still average about, let's say, 4 to 6 assists a game. But it's not nothing like what we used to see with John Stockton and Isaiah Thomas, Oscar Robertson, even Russell Westbrook. You know what I mean? So
Yep.
it's
Yep.
something that we kind of gotta get back into. I want to see more traditional point guards, but the game is changing, and pretty much all you got to do now is be faster, shoot more threes, and rebound. That's pretty much what the game is kind of boiled down to nowadays. And
For sure.
with the team that we
For
have built
sure.
this year, this is what we are literally built to do: shoot threes and run out. So
Super fast. Yeah. Yeah, no. I mean, if I could be anyone, I would be just I'd be a bit faster and a bit better at making decisions on the fly, and
yeah,
I would live with that every day of the week. If I could throw 10 assists a game, I would do it in a heartbeat. That'd be the best thing ever. But we just make do with what we've got. So
yeah. But I think we got a big chance to really shock the world this year.
for
Last year,
sure.
I don't know how much you know about the history, but this is my second season. So I was there last year when the Lynch kind of just flipped the program upside down and took it from basically nothing to a region tournament. And then they went to the big
Yep.
dance in Kansas. And so for me, that's kind of a great way to start off. Your first year announcing and commentating, and then the team that you're calling games for goes to the region tournament. So now I'm like, well, the only way I could top that is a national championship. So it's a crazy thing to think of how I call y'all the Borough Boys. But yeah, I'm like, crazy to think the Borough Boys can bring a national championship back to the Palace. But I'm delusional in the head, and I'm going to believe it until I am proven otherwise. So,
For sure.
and I guess we'll figure that out because I know I think the last game, unfortunately, is March 5th. I think shortly right after that, we'll get into region tournament play. So
Yeah, yeah, that's right. We got four more games in
yeah,
a
man.
stretch at home, and then it'll be which will be nice to finish at home and in front of everyone, and then straight into that tournament on the road, and then hopefully do well, get to the national championship. I think everyone just wants that. Like we're at
Yeah,
the point of the year, like who cares who scores the ball? Just win a game. Like we
yeah.
just want to
And
win
then and
every
then we can
game,
do it, bro.
which
We
is
can
nice
honestly do it, bro. Like we're still leading the country in scoring. Like, and we rebound offensively extremely well. To say that our tallest guy
Mm.
is Reese is the tallest guy at 6'9", and I think the next guy right after him is probably Liam at 6'5".
Yep, that sounds about right. Yeah,
Yeah, so and then we've gone up against teams that have had 6'7", 7-footers, 6'10", 6'11". So we definitely hold our own. And
yep,
if we can just continue to shoot, because we literally have shooters from top to bottom. If we just continue to shoot from the
yep.
perimeter pretty well and then rebound, I think we can really make some noise. And then
I
you guys
couldn't
are
agree more.
like, y'all are coming together
Those
at
are the
the
two
right
focal
time,
points.
and everybody's kind of just getting closer and closer. So all things are going in the right direction for us. Um,
I think so too.
okay, so what do you think are the strongest parts of your game, and what areas are you working to improve on?
Hmm. It's a tough question. I don't know. I feel like my game has differed so much since being here in the US that maybe I don't even know what my strengths are anymore. I play such a different style.
Okay.
I definitely think like thinking the game is a strong part of my game. Like I can see things that happen maybe before they happen, and I feel like I've got a great ability to do that, but I'm not sure that I am able to use that ability as much here because we run such a fast paced offense and stuff like that. And
Yep.
it's like
Yep.
built on shooting threes and not running plays and stuff. So, sometimes I'll make the wrong read and stuff. And so I've got to get used to that. Otherwise, yeah, a strong part. I think I've always just been a great kind of locker room guy. I know that sounds kind of
No,
cheesy,
I
but
believe
I
you. I've
think
been
I'm
around,
kind
so
of
I know
like,
I can vouch for that. Yeah, you are.
appreciate that. I feel
Yeah.
like, you get the term glue guys. I feel like I've always kind of been a little bit of that, like something that a team kind of, maybe it's not their best player or maybe it's not this or that, but it's good for a team. I feel like I'm not bad for a team and I do things that are good for a team. And that's what I'm kind of happy about. That's what I feel pretty good about. In terms of on the court, I definitely need to work on my shooting more. Like I'm not shooting the ball at a great clip this year, and you know that might be due to lack of confidence. I've lost a bit of my confidence and stuff like that for a variety of different reasons.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I don't know. It's hard to kind of weigh out my strengths and weaknesses. I feel like I'm just a reliable kind of person on the court. I play well with other players, like other players that play my style. I feel like when I'm on the court, I make a five better, but I don't necessarily do a lot of things that are going to show up on the stat sheet. And,
Right,
if I
right,
find a coach that appreciates that, like the same way like Lynch appreciates that, if I find a next coach that appreciates that, then that's where I'll fit in. And if I don't, I don't. You know what I mean?
right. Yeah, 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 yeah. I think, yeah, you're right. A lot of teams do need that. A guy that probably won't get any playing time, but can just kind of keep the guys in the game. Like, a lot of teams, you get down probably 13 and everybody's like, they're defeated. And you just got that one guy who may
Yeah,
not get any playing time that just kind of keeps everybody together. Like, hey, like we're not out of this just yet. Like, keep fighting, keep going, and then
yeah,
we'll get over the hump. And yeah, we definitely need that. So, so it's a great asset to
for
have.
sure. Appreciate it.
Okay, so I like this question right here. Now, you can speak from a um now I mean whatever you want to keep confidential, I respect. But as far as whether it be something that Lynch has implemented or one of the guys on the team, since the start of the year, what are your personal and team goals for this season?
My personal goals are like, funnily enough, this may sound like you BS or whatever. My personal goals are really just what the team goals are. Like, we just want to, like, I just want to win. Like, for me, I'm not ever gonna give you 40 points, like, especially not this year.
Yeah.
Like, that's not me. I'm not gonna go just break down a defender and give you 40. Maybe that used to be me when I was younger and do different things, but here, not really my role. I just want to win. Like, I don't care if I play 0 minutes, I
Yeah.
play 30 minutes. I like seeing the team win. And for me, the best chance to get recruited is if we win. We get in front of more eyes, we win more games, more people kind of get to know your names. So
Mhm.
my goals align like directly with the teams. Other people may have different individual goals. Like obviously they want to get out of here, they want to get offers, they want to score these points. But realistically, I think everyone on the team just wants to win. Like I feel a lot of people feel defeated when we lose, and people
Yeah.
feel really happy when we win. Like I feel that as a team we're fairly aligned in that. At the end of the day, like winning is the main thing. Um, so yeah, that's definitely me. I just want to go to Hutch. I want to win a game at Hutch. I want to win 2 games at Hutch. I want to do whatever we can. I want to see how it goes.
Man,
And
what?
go
Oh
as far
my
as I
God.
can with the team because it's junior college. A lot of these guys are in their second year. I will like the chances are realistically I'll probably never play with a lot of the guys ever again. And like
Yeah.
if I get one shot at it, then I want to make it the best shot possible. You know what I mean? I didn't come here in August and start studying in Walterboro and like, living this crazy life here
Yeah.
to lose in the conference tournament. And just that be it. You know what I mean? I didn't
Right.
there was no I wouldn't come if it was just to lose games. Like I came because we had an opportunity to win and win lots of games and get seen. And then I would love to get out of here if I can into a
Hmm.
big school, into like a NCAA school if I can.
Yeah.
But if I can't, I can't. I just as long as we win along the way, I think that's what's most important for me, without a doubt.
It feels very good and reassuring to hear you say that because when you're thinking it, you think you're delusional in the head and you're the only one thinking it. But to hear you say like, yeah, I wanna shock the world and do what's never been done, which is bring a championship back to Waterboro. So and then for me, that'd be the perfect way to end this thing out. Graduate from here and then finish off as a national champion. Like not
Yeah,
just in the region, like not just a Region 10 champion, which is still great and an accomplishment, but man, the best team at that very moment in JUCO. Like that would be crazy, but I think it's not too far of the stretch of imagination that we can go out and do it. So
for
I,
sure. We get our
I'm
things
definitely with you
together.
on that, bro.
Yeah, if we got our things clicking, I think we can be great. But we've had a taste of we played Daytona State and they were I think number 3 when we played them or number 2 when we played them, and I mean, some of these teams at the national tournament are going to be good, so we're really going to have to be, we're going to have to be firing on all cylinders. We lost to Daytona State by 50, and like, don't get me wrong, we played definitely our worst game of the season. We didn't hit shots. We it was bad, but I think we all get firing all at the same time. Everyone
Yep.
playing well. I don't think there's you know, I don't think there's much that can be said for like we can really do anything. That's what I feel. I really think we can win a game at Hutch, win two games at Hutch, win three games at Hutch, go rolling. Like you never know what momentum can do. Such a great thing. So I pray. I really hope that we get to the national tournament. I really hope we win games there.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a tough thing because, in a tournament like that, when you in season, you might have a game Tuesday and not again until Thursday or maybe Saturday. But man, you get in that tournament, that's pretty much every single day. So you got to be able to do that every single day at the
Yep.
same level against team. But I definitely think we are. I mean, our personalities in the locker room are mixing, but I think we kind of all can come together and play serious and kind of rise to the occasion at the right time instead of saying like, all right, like I know we kind of goof off here and there, but like now it's time for us
Mhm.
to lock in and get this thing done. And I think we've done that pretty well. Like if we understand the stakes of the game before we go into it, like we kind of rise to meet those expectations every time. So
No doubt. No doubt.
um okay, where do you see yourself in the next few years or so, both basketball wise and academically?
Um, it's funny you ask that. I think about that like quite often now because I haven't been playing super well lately on the court, and so you start to just in your head you think like, what am I going to do? Where am I going to go if I don't get an offer? I'm not sure. I'm up to this point in my life where like basketball is like a key or a tool that I'm using to get to other places. Like I love playing it, I love it, but if I couldn't get a scholarship out of it, or like, if I wasn't getting basketball in the US out of it, then I don't know whether I'd still be playing at a high level. Like I would probably just play with my friends and stuff like that and study.
Mhm.
Um, I've got big career aspirations. I want to work um, a big role in finance. I'm not sure exactly where yet. I'm kind of navigating that field at the moment. Um,
Okay.
if if I could have my way, I would love to be at an NCAA 4 year studying banking and finance and business. I'd love to be doing that and playing basketball if I could. That'd be best case scenario. If I can't get there, I will be maybe studying back home. I might study abroad in Europe. I'm
Okay.
actually not sure um, exactly where I'll be, but I'm not necessarily stressed
Okay.
about that. Like I understand that what I do with myself now will shape that career for me. And if the things I want to happen don't work out, then it just is what it is, and I'll move on to the next thing. I'm sure that I'll be able to find a way to make it work. There's so many other ways to get exactly what I want, and if basketball doesn't take me there, then basketball's taken me far enough. Like I've loved the sport; it's done so much for me, and I want to keep playing. And if I'm not good enough, I'm not good enough, and that's that. I'm happy. I'm content with how much I've played, how much I've loved it, and what it's done for me. So I'd love to play for 4 more years and do 4 years at NCAA, if I can, and if I can't, I'll do what I can and study where I can and explore the world.
Okay. Um, all right. Um, so the next question that I have for you is what's been the biggest cultural difference between Australia and the US, both on and off the court?
Um, okay, so first one easy off the court is food. Like
Okay.
US is just different with food. Um, a lot is processed. People don't want to cook, and then like even here at the house, like I don't know if people know, but like our team, we all live in the same house here.
The whole team?
We're in like yeah, our whole team, we all live in the same house. Yeah.
Okay.
So there's 11 of us or 12 of us in the house, whatever the number is, in rooms of two. So we've got one kitchen to share between all of us and two fridges, and so things are a little bit different. Um, Some people choose to eat out all the time. Other people choose to cook. I cook personally because I just can't deal with all the processed. So that's different. Um, it's just wild. Like food is just so different here. Maybe it's just because I'm in Walterboro. We're far from kind of big city civilization kind of thing. Like, so there's
Yeah.
not, your fresh fruit markets and food markets, all that kind of stuff. So maybe that's different, but definitely like the biggest thing I'm missing or like the biggest difference in like my lifestyle off the court is
Hmm.
the food. Like I'm eating just like chicken and rice and pastas like every day. I don't know. So that's for sure different. And then on the court, I think, I touched on it a little bit, is like the style of play. And
Hmm.
then maybe outside of style of play is like kind of culture around basketball. It's kind of just an understanding in the US that it's like guys are gonna go get their own, that kind of
Hmm.
thing. Like even with the trash talk on the court, people like, if you don't score 30 points, like people are trash talking you, calling you terrible on the court. And it's like,
Yeah.
that's not really how it works, that kind of thing. And there's like a big culture to kind of like try and break someone down one on one. That's not as big a culture in Australia. Like certainly at the professional level, you'll still see it, like no doubt in Australia. Like people are still,
Yeah.
late clock, you got to take someone off the drill.
Yeah.
Um, that kind of thing. But I don't know, it's just like hunting great shots. Like people here are prepared to settle with the first shot, because it's a good shot, like it's open. They're prepared to settle with that more than they are to like, you know, move a good shot into a great shot. Um,
Hmm.
because there's no guarantee that you'll get the great shot, so just take the good one, that kind of thing. That's probably a big change on the court. I don't know if there's too much of like, basketball's basketball at the end of the day. Like you can adapt. It just
Right.
is what it is. Yeah, I think, we play with international players so people kind of understand both facets of the game.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe another thing is like everyone like loves just like being the biggest trash talker in warm ups or stuff like
Yeah.
that. Who can bring the ring down in warm ups, or you know, everyone will rock up to the game with headphones on and their hoodie on and they won't look at anyone. And like that's not really like that doesn't really happen. Like people in Australia are just more friendly. Like people just say hi to people. You don't maybe I have my headphones on going into the game, but I'm talking to people saying hi. Like there, people are just drowning out their head with music, like hoodies on, don't really want to talk to anyone, and that's just different. Like that's just you know, certainly different. I feel like Australia is just a bit more friendly in that sense. And then after the games, like shaking hands, here you just kind of line up and you high five the guy and don't say anything.
Yeah.
Whereas like back home after the game, you'll go and shake everyone's hand and say good game. Like you look
Yeah.
them in the eyes. Like the teams we beat, like yeah, it's demoralizing when you lose by 40. But like, you lost by 40. You can't change it now, or you won by 40, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
You look at the other team and you say good game. That's just part of sport back home. Maybe I was raised differently. Maybe that's just different. But certainly that's a culture change. Guys like kind of have this smug or mug look on their face as they walk through the lines at the end of the games because they've lost or because they've won and they don't want to talk to you. And like I don't know. I think it's always just been a thing back home to hold your head high. You know, give people their flowers when their flowers are due and tell them good game and you move on. Like you can't change it now, but you can affect how you are as a person
Right.
outside of basketball, and that's something I'll always try and be focused on. Like just because I've lost doesn't mean I need to be a bad person. That kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the notion of like that's been thrown around in sports for years of people being kind of want to build great people instead of great athletes specifically. And so yeah, that's kind
Yeah,
of what you're touching on, not just yeah, I lost, but I can be a bad athlete and me still try to be a good person in this moment, not try to crash myself in both areas. So
for sure, for sure.
um okay, so my next question, or my last question actually, before we
Mm-hmm.
wrap things up here, what advice would you give to other Australian players looking to come to the US to play college basketball? So these 10 and 11-year-old young Australian boomers, you know, what would you say to them about trying to come to the US and trying to come hoop with the Americans?
I would say like it's not always what it seems. Like if I were talking to a group of younger people, I'd be like, it's difficult. Like I'm at a JUCO in Walterboro, and like back home, like yeah, I wasn't the best. Certainly wasn't the best, but like I was pretty good. Like I played at a fairly good level, I would say.
Hmm.
And then here, I'm not at an NCAA school. I'm not at Division One. I'm like, it's not that easy. Like you have to work on your game. You have to
Yep.
work hard and understand that things take time. And some people you'll come across and they won't work out and they'll just have it. They'll just be good. And like, you know what, you just gotta suck it up and like understand like whatever. They're good, but like you control what you control.
Hmm.
Um, I also know that a lot of Australians come to the US for 1 year and they leave after that year. I
Hmm.
would say like don't come in with super high expectations. Come in with level-headed thinking. Come in and like hope to get a spot, hope to get a scholarship. Maybe you will, maybe you won't. You really got to like, you got to turn over every stone. You've got to push every button to try and get here. And then once you get here, you've just got to come in level headed. And like, it's not the end of the world if you don't like it. It's not the end of the
Right.
world if you don't get here. It's just another part of your life. Like, I've enjoyed my year here and I've enjoyed playing basketball so far and everything like that. But if I didn't get here, it wouldn't be the end of the world for me.
Right.
And like I remember thinking before I was trying to go to college, I was like, it would be the end of the world if I didn't get to college. Like I set these dreams and hopes and goals. And then like what? My family or my friends are just gonna be like, oh, so you never actually got to college. I mean, I'd feel like a failure. Like that's one thing. Just you don't have to feel like a failure. Like, this is great. It's a great opportunity, but you can get where you want to go through so many different routes, so many different things. I've got so many friends that been to college, left college, still at college, all that kind of thing, and they still find their way around whether they got here or not. And it's just not something you need to be super stressed about. Just let things happen the way they happen, still work out every day, give it every turn over every stone, give it every shot you can possibly give it.
Right.
And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And if it does, it does.
I think that's pretty good advice right there, Fred. I do think it'll be. I think the Australian game will kind of expand more, um, as the years progress. Because I mean, I can't really think of any off the top of my head right now, which is kind of bad because I just watched the Olympics a couple of months ago. But I do know that Australia kind of runs pretty deep as far as the NBA. So
A lot. We got a lot in the NBA. We've got, I think, our whole Boomers roster. I think. Oh well, actually, some of them weren't. But like, if we were strictly selecting from NBA guys, we could have
mhm,
a full team of 12 from the NBA. Yeah, Australia is growing in basketball. A lot of kids playing Division One basketball. Big
mhm.
schools. You got kids at Duke and Florida and all that. It's really cool to see. Yeah, I think Australian basketball is really growing, and there's so much opportunity to get to the US, get to where you want to be, and we got heaps of Aussies in the NBA playing well, doing their thing, and so many more coming through. I think we've got like three or four coming into next year's draft class. So it's awesome to see. I think.
Well, I mean, that's kind of all I have. Do you have anything you kind of want to say or touch on or?
Not really. I just appreciate being on here, being able to share who I am. It's a cool thing. I've never done anything like this, and it's nice talking about it, and having someone else hear my perspective of you know what America's like from an international perspective, that kind of thing. It's different. It's cool.
Yeah, definitely. It's always a pleasure for me, man, because just my love for the game is just always cool to kind of pick out, the little ins and outs of what someone can contribute to the game. So it's always interesting for me to kind of touch with the athlete on a personal level, man, because a lot of y'all don't get that opportunity with people, man. Some people just they want you for one thing and one thing only, and that's your athletic talent. Like after you're playing, that's it. Like whether you're depressed and you go home and you want to backflip off your roof, they don't care about that. And I think
Yeah.
like the mental health, especially with athletes, needs
Mm.
to be elevated a lot more and prioritizing that. So that's
Yeah, I do agree with that.
this.
I think like everyone looks at like guys that go to these big schools for football or basketball as like, their life's perfect. Um, and like I know guys at Division 1 and Division 2 that like they say like everything just sucks. They're away from family and stuff like that. So I definitely think it takes its toll. They feel the stress of every game and the stress of every play and every time they get on the court and they, you know, I recently was talking to a friend who was at Division 2 last year, and he was like, literally before every training, they'd do a stretch, and he would lie there during that stretch and stare up at the roof and just like think about how much he hated his life. And like, you know, it's just crazy that thought. So it's interesting. I think that's something definitely that needs to be touched on, but who knows?
Yeah. Well, that's all I got. I really appreciate you uh coming on. So yeah, good luck on Wednesday. I know we play Wednesday and
Yeah,
then
Wednesday on the road, and then we're 4 games at home. So
yeah, back at it at home on Saturday. So I will see you Saturday.
for sure,
All right.
appreciate you, big dog.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you.